My girlfriend told me she wasn't ready to live together, that she needed her space, that it was too much pressure. And 2 weeks later, I found out she had moved into my dad's house because of a family emergency. And the worst part is that both of them thought I would see it as something normal. My name is Andres. I'm 29 years old and I still can't believe this happened to me. Every time I say out loud, my girlfriend went to live with my dad, it sounds like a bad joke, like a meme, like exaggerated fiction, but it's not fiction. It was my relationship, my family. And watching it fall apart was like watching a fire burn with no hose and no exit. I met Carla 3 years ago in a co-working space. I was working as a freelance designer, she was a community manager. The usual. Complaints, coffee, laughs, coincidences. In no time she became part of my day-to-day, my routines. She was intense, loud, bright. I was more reserved, calmer. But she made my life feel bigger. After a few months she was already part of my circle, my Sundays, everything. When she met my dad, the connection was instant. Eduardo, 52, charismatic, always in shape, always with something interesting to say. The kind of man people like within 10 minutes. The guy my friends called the cool dad. To me, he was just my dad. A man who had been there, then absent, then back again, and who somehow always landed on his feet. Carla admired him from day one. She laughed loudly at all his jokes, asked him questions, looked at him like he was a character from a show. I remember that night while we were driving home, she said, "How come you never bragged about your dad before?" I smiled, proud. I didn't know what that sentence would mean later. The idea of moving in together came up about a year in. Everything seemed ready for it. Stability, plans, intimacy. I suggested it naturally. But when I said it, Carla set her mug down and her face changed. "I'm not ready," she said. "I like my space." It hurt. A full year together and she still didn't want to live with me. She gave me a million confusing explanations, many of them based on what her mom said. Because her mom always had strong opinions about everything, I accepted it. I loved her. But after that conversation, something shifted. Carla started asking for space more and more. She canceled plans. She seemed distant. But if I was busy, she got upset. "Lately it feels like you don't care about me." She once told me. It was strange. When she pulled away, it was self-care. When I pulled away, it was negligence. And slowly she started talking about my dad more. A lot more. Asking how he was, if he had gone to the doctor, if he should eat better, if I didn't take good enough care of him. And the worst one, if I had a son, I'd be closer to him than your dad is to you. I didn't know what to do with that line. One night, around 10 p.m., she called me crying. She told me, "Don't get mad," and then confessed that my dad had reached out to her desperately. According to her, he was struggling financially, emotionally, physically. That he was alone. That he needed support. I asked the obvious, "And why did he call you?" Her explanation made no sense. She said I was too stressed and she didn't want to worry me. Then she dropped the bomb. I came to his house. I didn't want to leave him alone. My heart stopped. She told me she was going to sleep there. Just a few days, according to her. Temporary, because of a family emergency. The girlfriend who wasn't ready to live with me was packing to stay in my dad's house. I asked her if he had asked her to. She hesitated before saying yes. I hung up, furious, and called my dad. He told me some generic story about business, stress, and loneliness. Nothing new. But he admitted he had called Carla instead of me. "She listens to me better than you do," he said. That sentence went straight through me. I hung up. I didn't sleep that night. I imagined Carla in the kitchen where I grew up, sleeping in the guest room. Walking around the house, like she belonged there. She replied to a message, saying she would obviously be sleeping in the guest room. That obviously made my stomach turn. Days turned into a week. Then, Carla told me I couldn't go see my dad yet because he was doing really bad. He told me he was fine. 2 versions. And I was outside both. So on a Friday, without warning, I went to his house. I opened the door with my key. As soon as I stepped in, I heard my dad's voice. "Who told you you could just walk in like that?" And behind him, walking down the hallway, hair tied up, wearing one of my old shirts, was Carla. And right there in that absurd moment, I realized that whatever they called a family emergency had nothing temporary about it, and nothing innocent. And that house, the house I grew up in, was no longer mine. It was theirs, or worse. It was the 2 of them without me. When I saw them, my dad looking at me like I was an intruder, and Carla behind him, messy-haired, comfortable, as if she had been living there for weeks, something inside me cracked. A thin but definitive fracture. My dad crossed his arms. That gesture he always used when he wanted to assert dominance, when he wanted to be above me. "What are you doing here?" he asked, with that voice that was half authoritarian, half tired. I froze. I didn't know if I was more surprised, angry, or simply disgusted. "I came to see how you were," I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. Carla took a step forward, not a big one, but enough for me to notice. "Andres, I told you today wasn't a good day to come," she said, as if we were a couple and she had the right to make decisions on my behalf. "Carla," I said slowly, "you're wearing one of my shirts." She looked down as if she had just realized it, but she didn't apologize or look embarrassed. "Oh. Yeah," she said softly. "I found it in the closet. It was comfortable. I didn't think you'd care. It was mine." And it no longer felt like it was. Nothing felt like it belonged to me anymore. I walked in without asking for permission, and my dad stepped forward to block me, but didn't insist. I went toward the living room, and there I saw several of Carla's things. Perfectly settled, her toiletry bag, her big purse, a jacket I had given her, a book she had never returned to me. This wasn't a visit. This wasn't temporary. This was cohabitation. Or something worse. I turned around to face them. "How long has this been going on?" I asked. No one answered. "A week? 2? Carla?" I pressed. She opened her mouth and closed it again. My dad stepped in. "You have no right to enter like this and demand explanations in that tone." I laughed, just to keep myself from breaking something. "I don't have the right?" I said. "Me? The son? The boyfriend? I don't have the right to know why my dad and my girlfriend are lying to my face?" Carla rushed to stand behind him as if I were some threat. "Calm down, Andres," she said in that voice she always used when she wanted to make me feel dramatic. "We're not doing anything wrong." The words "anything wrong" echoed in my skull like poison. "Nothing wrong?" I repeated. "You're not ready to live with me, but you are ready to sleep here. You need space, but not from him. You don't want to share a roof with me, but you're fine sharing one with my dad." Carla lifted her hands, frustrated. "You don't understand. He needs you, and you know that better than I do?" I shot back. My dad raised his voice. "Because I told her. Because she listened when no one else wanted to. You're never around, Andres. You're always busy, always wrapped up in your own world, always distant. I didn't want to worry you because I thought you'd get upset like now." It was surreal. My own father justifying calling my girlfriend before calling me. Carla stepped in. "I came because he asked me for help. Andres, I'm not here for any other reason." Her sentence was so weak, so rehearsed, so hollow, that instead of calming me down, it fueled my anger. "And why did you stay?" I asked coldly, because he looked very bad. "And now you're using his house as if it were yours?" "It's just convenient," she murmured. "I was coming and going, and you decided it was better to move in?" I said. She didn't answer. Because the answer was yes. My dad switched tones, trying to sound reasonable now. "Andres, this is temporary. Don't make a scene. When I feel better, she go back to her place." "And how long is your crisis supposed to last?" I asked. He frowned. "I don't know. And meanwhile, she keeps living with you?" He exhaled as if I were an annoyingly stubborn child. "She's here for emotional support. Nothing more. The same emotional support I offered you for half my life and you rejected. The same support I should be giving because I'm your son. The same support you didn't want from me, but you do want from my girlfriend." Silence. Thick, damp, suffocating. Carla finally spoke. Her eyes looked shiny, but not because of sadness. It was guilt disguised as vulnerability. "Andres, I know this is weird. I know it looks like something it's not, but I'm just doing the right thing. He's very alone. You don't understand what it's like to see him this way. It's painful." I felt betrayed and ridiculed at the same time. "I'm his son," I whispered. "You don't get to tell me. I don't understand how my own father is." Carla pressed her lips together. "Sometimes love isn't enough to understand someone." That sentence knocked the soul out of me. She spoke like she was his partner. Like she knew him more than I did. Like she was the only one who could take care of him. Like I didn't matter in my own family. I took a deep breath and said the only thing that made sense. "Carla, I need you to come with me. Now, let's go to your place. We'll talk there." "This can't continue." She shook her head. "I can't leave." "Can't?" "Or don't want to. I can't leave him like this." I turned to my dad. "Are you asking her to stay?" He answered without blinking. "Yes, I asked her." I don't want to be alone. And then I saw it. For the first time I really saw it, my dad wasn't as bad as Carla claimed. He wasn't trembling. He wasn't distressed. He wasn't disoriented, he was calm. Tired, maybe. But not destroyed. And definitely not desperate. This wasn't a crisis anymore. It was a dynamic, one I didn't see coming. One in which they needed each other too much. But not in any healthy way. Not in any way that allowed me to stay part of the equation. How long has this been going on? I asked. No answer. Since when is she your person of trust? My dad said, since you stopped being that. I felt a hole open inside my stomach. Carla tried to approach me. It's not against you. Andres. I stepped back. Carla, do you even realize what you're doing? She swallowed. I'm just taking care of someone I love. Who do you love? I asked without filters. The question hung in the air. She opened her mouth, but my dad interrupted. Andres, go home. You need to rest. I laughed. You're kicking me out of your house because your special guest wants it? Don't disrespect her, he said firmly. That was the moment I stopped seeing him as my father. I saw him as a man making terrible choices. A man who saw me as a threat to something he didn't want to lose. I left. Not because I wanted to, but because staying there meant watching the last bit of respect I had for both of them collapse. As I closed the door behind me, I heard their voices fade. I heard her say something like, I'll talk to him later, and him responding, don't worry, I'll handle it. I'll handle it. As if I were a problem. An obstacle. A nuisance. That night, sitting in my car outside the house I grew up in, staring at the window of the guest room where Carla was, wearing my shirt, I realized something that froze me to the bone. They were acting like a team. And I was the outsider. And for the first time in my life, I started to think that maybe what I was seeing wasn't just emotional manipulation or dependency, but something else. Something neither of them was willing to say. Not yet. When Ace said that, since when do you spy on conversations? I swear I felt my stomach twist. I had seen him upset before, irritated, fed up. But never like this. Never with that sharp edge in his voice, like I was just one more problem in his chaotic life, not a friend. Not his confidant. And definitely not the person who had almost... No. I couldn't think about that now. I blinked, startled. Just like Liam. Liam was the first to react. Bro. He said, lifting his hands like Ace was a bomb about to go off. Nobody was spying on anything. We were just talking. Ace didn't hear him. Or didn't want to. His eyes were locked on me as if he'd caught me digging through a locked drawer. What did you hear, Willow? He asked firm, nothing sweet about it. My body tensed, but my voice stayed steady. I wasn't spying. I just walked by. I heard my name. That's all. Ace laughed. A dry, humorless, almost cruel sound. Sure, you just walked by. He made air quotes. Perfect coincidence. My cheeks burned. I knew I shouldn't feel guilty because I hadn't done anything wrong, but there I was, feeling small. Hey, Liam cut in. Don't start, Ace. Don't make this harder. Willow's not against you, okay. Ace ignored him. He stepped closer to me, and even though his voice was low, it sounded like he was ready to break something. You always want answers, Willow. So here, yes, Brittany said things. Yes, I said things, so what? My throat dried up. That's your explanation? It's more than I owe you, he shot back. Liam shoved his shoulder. What is wrong with you, man? Why are you talking to her like that? Ace reacted like Liam had snapped him out of a trance. He rubbed his face, took a deep breath, and stepped back. I'm tired, he said. But it wasn't tiredness. It was fear. Fear of being found out. Fear of being seen. Fear of what was really happening between him, Brittany. And whatever he felt for me. I saw it too. And Ace knew I saw it, I said slowly. My heart pounding. If you don't want me hearing conversations, don't talk about me out loud. Liam's eyes went wide. Like he just watched someone jump out a window. Ace looked at me like he couldn't decide whether to explode or laugh. You always have a comeback, don't you? Only when someone tries to make me look like a snoop, I replied. Not looking away. Silence. The kind of silence that isn't empty, full of things nobody wants to say. Then Brittany appeared from the hallway with a towel on her head. And when she saw the scene, the three of us tense, Ace furious, me with my jaw clenched, Liam with his don't drag me into this face, she smiled. Yes, she smiled, because Brittany wasn't stupid. Brittany understood energy. And what she saw was something she had always wanted. Chaos. And Ace reacting because of me? Everything okay here? She asked, dripping fake innocence. Liam muttered, oh, for the love of... Ace didn't even look at her. But I did. And what I saw hit me straight in the chest. Brittany was wearing one of Ace's sweaters. Big gray with long sleeves. The same one Ace used to lend me when we studied on his couch. Back before everything got complicated, my eyes recognized it instantly, and Brittany noticed. She smiled a little more triumphant, damn it. That's what broke me a little. Not because Ace owed me loyalty, he wasn't my boyfriend. Not because Brittany was intruding. We weren't anything official. It hurt because he knew that sweater meant something between us. And he still let her have it. Or maybe... She put it on without asking, and that thought, tiny but sharp, hit me hard. What if Ace wasn't in love with Brittany? What if he was just running away from me? I should go, I said, stepping back. Willow, Liam said, reaching out. Let her, Ace interrupted. Not even turning to look at me. That was it. The last needle. I turned without saying anything and walked out of the apartment. I heard footsteps behind me. And for a split second I thought it was Ace, but it was Liam. Hey. Willow, he whispered. Don't leave like this. You know he doesn't. He paused. He doesn't know how to handle this. This what? I asked, my voice trembling. God, how I hated that. Liam lowered his gaze. What he feels. I couldn't say anything. I wasn't sure I could even breathe. He sighed, leaning against the hallway wall. Look. Brittany isn't what she seems. And Ace isn't as dumb as he looks. There's something going on that you're not seeing. And I can't be the one to tell you. Then who should? I asked. Liam looked at me with a seriousness I'd never seen from him. Him. But he doesn't want to talk, I said. He doesn't want to talk, Liam confirmed. Because if he does, everything changes. My heart jumped painfully. My hands trembled. And Liam added, I swear, Willow. What's happening here isn't what you think. But you need to be ready. When Ace decides to talk, your world is going to shift. Then a voice came from inside the apartment. Liam? Willow? Can you come here for a moment? I need to talk to you. Both of you. It was Ace, with a tone I had never heard before. A tone that could mean disaster. Or revelation. Liam looked at me and whispered one word. Prepare. I took a deep breath and stepped back toward the door. When I heard Ace calling us Liam, Willow, can you come here? A shiver crawled down my neck. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't cold. It was broken. Like something inside him had finally snapped. Liam motioned for me to move, but my legs hesitated. I didn't want to go back in. I didn't want to face Ace without understanding what was actually happening between him, Brittany, and me. But I also knew one thing. If I walked away now, if I ran, if I left him there speaking to an empty doorway, maybe there wouldn't be a second chance. Maybe whatever he was about to say would never leave. His lips again. So I took a breath and followed Liam back into the apartment. Ace was in the living room, but he wasn't standing anymore. He was sitting on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, head down. Brittany was still there, wrapped in his sweater, watching him like she was trying to tame a wild animal. When he saw me walk in, Ace straightened. His eyes were red. I couldn't tell if from anger or something deeper. Close the door, he said. We closed it. The air felt so thick I couldn't breathe. Ace looked at Liam first, then at me. But he didn't look at Brittany. I don't want this to become an even bigger misunderstanding than it already is, he began, voice tight. So I'd rather say everything at once. Liam crossed his arms. Brittany settled into the couch with a smug calmness, and I braced myself. Ace swallowed hard. I'll start with the important part, he said. Willow wasn't spying. I was unfair. I shouldn't have talked to her like that. I froze. Ace didn't apologize often. Especially not to me. Especially not in front of Brittany. Okay, I said slowly, unsure what to do with this sudden humility. But Ace wasn't done. What you heard wasn't the whole conversation, he continued. And yes, Brittany said things about you. Things that aren't true. Brittany straightened. Ace, she cut in. Don't exaggerate. I only said, no, he interrupted her sharply, still not looking at her. You said exactly what you wanted to say. She tightened her lips, furious at being exposed. Ace took a breath, like ripping something painful from inside himself. Willow. Brittany wrote the letter. Not me. The room exploded in silence. I knew it. I suspected it. But hearing it felt like getting slapped. I don't have anything against you, Ace continued. I never said you were manipulative. I never said you pushed me away from my friends. I never said you were a shadow smothering me. A hollow space opened in my chest. Brittany lifted her chin. Defiant. I didn't mean any harm, she said. I was just trying to protect all of us from bigger drama. Protecting us, Ace repeated, venom in every syllable. Brittany, you weren't protecting anyone. You just wanted Willow gone. And you used my name to make it happen. Liam let out a low. Wow. I still couldn't speak. Brittany didn't blink. So what? She finally snapped. You didn't have the guts to do it yourself. You were getting too tangled. Someone had to set boundaries. If it wasn't me, you would have kept letting her. Ace shot to his feet. Shut up. It wasn't the anger of a man. It was the breaking point of one. Brittany stepped back, startled. Ace looked at me. And there it was. The fear. The guilt. The vulnerability. Not rage. A dangerous mix of emotions he'd been hiding for weeks. Willow, he whispered, none of what she wrote came from me. Not a single word. I don't think that about you. I never did. I wanted to believe him. I wanted that apology to be enough. But something inside me needed more. Then why didn't you say anything? I asked, why did you let me believe you thought all that about me? Ace's eyes closed for a second. His breath shook. Because it was easier to let you go, he admitted, than to tell you the truth. The truth? My voice barely came out. He nodded. Double quotes, yes. The real reason. What I've been avoiding for months? Brittany stiffened, as if she knew what was coming. Liam stepped back, giving us space. Ace ran a hand through his hair, nervous, trembling, and then he said it. I pulled away from you because every time you looked at me, I couldn't control anything. Not what I felt. Not what I wanted. Not what I was about to ruin. My heart stopped. Brittany clenched her fists. No, she whispered. No, Ace, don't say that. Ace completely ignored her. Willow, he said again, looking at me like the whole world was collapsing around him. I didn't pull away because you were a problem. I didn't pull away because you were a bad influence. All of that is a lie. I pulled away because I don't know how to be your friend without wanting something more. The floor disappeared beneath me. But before I could answer, before I could even feel it, Brittany let out a bitter laugh. Of course, she said with a twisted smile. Confess now that you've already ruined everything. Perfect. Congratulations, Ace, you did it. Brittany, you don't understand, Ace said, refusing to look at her. Oh, I understand, she said, standing up. I understand that you were mine. That I was fixing you. That I was there when you cried over that girl. And now you want to swap me out like used paper? You know what? No, Ace, I'm not going to stay here and watch you destroy your life over her. It's not your decision, he replied coldly. She looked at him with fury. With something deeper than jealousy. Something that smelled like obsession. Then tell her, she demanded. Tell her what happened the night you left here crying. Tell her why you slept at my place. Let's see if she wants to know that part too. My heart dropped violently. Ace went pale. Brittany, he whispered. No. No what? She shot back. No, I don't tell the truth. I don't say that you slept in my bed. You want me to lie about that too? Liam covered his face. I felt like all the air had been sucked out of my lungs. Ace clenched his jaw. Don't make this worse. Brittany stepped forward, jabbing her finger into Ace's chest. Say it yourself. Or do you want me to? Silence. And it was there, exactly there, that I understood that what was about to come out wasn't just a confession. It was a twist that could destroy all of us. When Brittany said, "You want me to say it?" Ace went pale in a way I'd never seen. It wasn't just fear. It was terror that something he tried to bury was about to surface. And me. All I could do was stand there, feeling my heartbeat pounding like it wanted to escape my chest. Brittany stepped closer, enjoying the chaos like she'd been waiting for this moment. Fine, she said, looking straight at me. I'll tell you, Willow. That night, Ace stayed at my place. He was drunk, crying over you because he didn't know how to handle what he felt. He didn't know if he wanted to kiss you or disappear. So he came to me. And yes, we slept together. In the same bed. Body to body. My breathing stopped cold. Ace closed his eyes as if her words physically hurt him. Liam muttered, God. Brittany. She smiled, poisonous. You wanted the truth, Willow? There it is. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. But before I could react, Ace spoke. Yes, I stayed at your place, he admitted. And yes, I slept in your bed. but not the way you're trying to make it sound. Oh, please. She cut him off. It was obvious you wanted something more. You touched me. Ace slammed his hand on the table. Because you were on top of me while I was asleep. Because you climbed into the bed without me saying you could. Because you tried to kiss me when I was drunk. And that's what happened. The silence turned deadly. I couldn't move. Brittany stopped smiling. You're lying, she whispered, her voice losing strength. No, Ace said. I'm not lying. You took advantage because you knew I was broken. Because you knew I was confused about Willow. Because you saw an opportunity and you took it. I didn't do anything with you. Nothing you didn't push for. A tear slid down my cheek before I even noticed. Liam took a long breath. That's already too much. Brittany was shaking, somewhere between rage and humiliation. Ace, you came to me, she said. You came when you were messed up. You called me. I was there when she wasn't. Ace looked at her with infinite exhaustion. I wasn't looking for you, he said with devastating honesty. I was looking for anyone who wasn't Willow. Because I knew that if I went to her, I'd ruin everything. But you ruined it with me. Brittany screamed. Because you wanted me to, he replied. Because you wanted her out of the picture from day one. Like with the letter. Like with the rumors. Like with everything. She stepped back. Then another step. No, Brittany, I said at last, my voice breaking. Why did you do all of this? She looked at me and for the first time, I saw the real truth in her eyes. Envy. Pain. A twisted need to belong to something that wasn't hers. Because you always had everything, she whispered. The attention. The affection. The respect. The way he looked at you. I wanted that. I wanted someone to look at me like that. Ace squeezed his eyes shut. Not at the cost of destroying me, he said. You were destroying me too, she threw back, crying for the first time. But it didn't matter anymore. All the pieces were on the table. Liam, Ace said, exhausted. Can you take her out? Liam nodded, took Brittany by the arm, and she didn't fight. She didn't scream. She just sobbed softly, like someone who finally understands they lost a war they never should have started. The door closed. Silence. Ace stayed there in front of me, not moving. Every breath looked like an effort. Willow, he said at last. You can hate me. You can leave. You can do whatever you want. But I had to tell you the truth. All of it. What I felt. What I did. What I didn't do. I can't keep hiding behind excuses or behind Brittany or behind anything. I didn't know what to say. Words wouldn't come. He took a step toward me. Then another. Then stopped, like getting any closer might break me. I never wanted to hurt you, he said. I pulled away because I thought it was the best thing. Because I thought I had no right to feel what I feel for you. Because I thought you would never look at me differently. And that was killing me. My voice came out barely above a whisper. And now? Ace swallowed. Now I'm saying it to your face. I want you. I want you like I've never wanted anyone. And I get it if it's too late. If I am no longer worth it to you. But if there is even the smallest doubt, if there is still a place for me, I'll fight for it. I'll fight for everything. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. Ace, I started. But he lifted a hand. No, don't decide out of pity. Or impulse. Or because I'm a mess. Decide when you're ready. I just didn't want to keep lying. I stood there looking at him, tears falling freely. That was Ace, not the arrogant one. Not the cold one. Not the one who picked fights out of ego. That Ace, vulnerable, honest, brutally sincere, was the one I had wanted from the beginning. I sighed, wiped my tears, and said the only truth I had, I don't know what's going to happen now. But I'm not leaving. Ace's breath hitched. So did his eyes. He didn't hug me. He didn't kiss me. He didn't do anything impulsive. He just took a step back, leaned his head against the wall, and closed his eyes like for the first time in a long time he could breathe. Liam came back in a few minutes later, looking exhausted, but when he saw us, me standing there, Ace breathing deeply, he smiled. Well, he said, I guess that's something. Yeah, it was something. A beginning. A beautiful disaster. A truth finally dragged into the light. An open ending. But a real one. And for the first time in a long time, I felt that whatever came next, even if it was uncertain, wasn't scary. Because at least it wasn't a lie anymore. It was us. Exactly as we were. Broken, imperfect, human, but finally honest.